Welcome back, my friends. I hope you all are doing great and is happy in your life. In this another video, we have come up with a topic that is super relevant to you and greatly influences your life. We are addressing here the issue of the absence of herpes vaccine. But before we start the talks on this big issue, we want to provide you some information about herpes infection. It's true that herpes infection normally appears dormant and literally has no impact on healthy people. But the other side of this infection is so frightening. We know that billion of people have herpes infection, and some of them remain unlucky and develops severe complications, even death in some cases. Herpes infection is broadly connected with psychological trauma and depression. It poses a significant threat to newborn babies, cancer patients, heart patients, and those whose immune system is compromised. While visiting doctors, what the patient is often left with is just a 7-day antiviral treatment and told, "Best of luck." This creates an urgency of developing a herpes vaccine that protect them from the devastation of HSV. A vaccine against HSV infection would not only help to promote and protect the health and well-being of millions of people, particularly women, it could also potentially have an impact on slowing the spread of HIV. While the COVID-19 pandemic has led to an unprecedented race to develop a vaccine, and they successfully created it in a very short span of time, researchers have been trying to come up with a vaccine to prevent herpes for at least 4 decades, but all efforts are of no avail. Herpes isn't a top priority for researchers. It isn't even the top priority among those who study sexually transmitted infections. The disease has been sort of ignored by both the pharmaceutical industry as well as the medical research establishment. There are several potential reasons for this. If the herpes vaccine develops, the big pharma would lose the process of making big money. If the drug that cures the herpes virus is created, they can't make a passive business out of it. There has been severe lack of funding issue for the development of herpes vaccine. The more time the herpes vaccine is delayed, the more difficult it will be to develop a vaccine. Because herpes has been around for so long, the viruses have evolved alongside us. In interviews, more than a dozen experts in the field, including doctors, clinicians, and drug company officials, said that a cure might never be found, and that vaccines or medications that would stop the disease from spreading might be years away. Big Pharma is killing Americans. Big Pharma greed knows no bounds. Pharmaceutical corporations abuse their monopoly power to rip off Americans en masse. Whatever your political affiliation, background, or zip code, you are harmed by the outrageous prices set by the pharmaceutical companies. These corporations rake in ridiculous amounts of money from U.S. consumers in comparison to the money they make off all other countries, with Americans spending more per capita for prescription drugs than any other industrialized nation. World governments and big pharma companies are turning a blind eye to bribery and corruption that allows a few to make vast profits while damaging the health of many of the poorest people on Earth, a new report has claimed. It is shocking that despite scandal after scandal, policymakers simply are not taking seriously the corrosive effect of corruption. The red flags are being ignored. Big Pharma's financial muscle allowed it to spend millions every year on political lobbying. Pharmaceutical companies can unduly influence national political systems through their large spending power. With extensive bribery and the significant spending power of pharmaceutical companies, coupled with government negligence in regulating these big pharma entities, the process of creating a herpes vaccine has become nearly impossible. Now we are going to wrap it up here. We will meet up again in our next video. Till then, stay safe and happy. Please do subscribe and share this video.